We grew up with the Harry Potter books and movies, and now, it's being rebooted. So obviously we have a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about. What was your initial reaction when you heard about HBO rebooting Harry Potter?
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest with you, man.
Yeah.
When I first heard of it, I was like,
Hey everyone, this is Faze,
hey, this is Adil.
and welcome to the Faze and Oswald Show. We are two cousins who love movies and TV shows, and if you enjoy movies and TV shows as much as we do, then be sure to subscribe to our channel.
So, Faze, what's today's topic about?
Today, we're going to talk about Harry Potter. So HBO is doing a reboot on the Harry Potter series. And, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. Adil's a big Harry Potter fan, as you can see. We grew up with the Harry Potter books and movies. And now, it's being rebooted. So obviously, we have a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about in this episode. We're going to talk about the rumored, cast and other speculations and stuff. But before we get into that, what was your initial reaction when you heard about HBO rebooting Harry Potter?
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest with you, man.
Yeah.
When I first heard of it, I was like, this is a bad idea. I mean, like you said, we've grown up with it. Harry Potter has been like something a part of our childhood, teenage years, and adulthood. Even like now, it's been a part of our lives for like 15, 20 years. And that magic that we saw in those movies and the books. Oh yeah, the magic. I don't think personally it can be replicated. But again, this was in the beginning stages when I didn't know about all this information coming out.
Yeah.
We both know HBO is great. So just asking you, how did you feel about it when you first heard it?
To be honest, I was on the same boat as you because, I remember us going to the theater, every year or every other year, whenever the new movie came out or the book launches. Harry Potter meant a lot to me, all of us growing up, right? So I had mixed feelings because, in one way I could see what they could do better, right? Because it's a show, there's a lot of details they can go into that the movies couldn't, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, when I think of Harry Potter, I think of Daniel Radcliffe.
Yep.
I think of Hermione. I think of
Like Emma Watson. Yeah, her. Yeah.
or Grin, or Alan Rickman as Snape, right? Or Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. Yeah, right. So I think even when I go back and read these books, I imagine those actors playing those characters, right? So it's kind of hard to now watch another group of actors to come in and play these iconic, roles. So for me, that's the one thing I'm kind of uncomfortable with. But those feelings have changed. And now I'm very excited. And once again, it has a lot to do with the information that we're going to go over in a second. But I don't think I'm as nervous as I was initially when I...
Yeah, no, same, 100%. Now, like, we're going into more details, but, the fact that HBO is a big part of this franchise now and, what we've seen with HBO shows and the names that are tagged to the show now with the terms of creators and the showrunner and the directors, I am also now excited.
If there's one studio or one service that can do justice to this, it is HBO.
Yep.
Now if Netflix was announcing this, I would be very, very nervous.
Yeah. So with Netflix, man, I don't think I would have changed my opinion.
Game over. Yeah. That's something that we're kind of optimistic about, that HBO is running this show. Speaking of running, this show is expected to run for 10 years, which is a long time.
Yeah, that's a very long time.
Each season will be based on a book.
7 books, so they're probably going to combine a couple seasons, 2 seasons for probably the 7th book, probably the 5th book, right? I don't know how they're going to do that, but I'm excited though. 10 years of more Harry Potter, sign me up. Like, I'm never going to say no to that.
I'm excited about that because each book has so much, right? And obviously when they're making a movie that has to be cut down to 2.5 hours, you can't have everything that's in the book, right? Yeah. But now the fact that you have each season that's based on the whole book, they're going to show us so much more that was missed out.
It'll be so interesting to see the pacing because HBO shows usually has around 10 episodes per season, right? Like, they're not known for many. Right. And it's going to be 45 minutes to an hour long possibly per episode. Yeah. So it'll just be interesting to see how they condense, or how they adapt to going from that 2-3 hour movies we saw to potentially 8 to 10 hours of content per season. So I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for that.
There's a lot of content. And speaking of which, I know we're saying HBO. Who is involved with the show? Do you know who's creating it, the showrunner?
Well, this is where my excitement starts to go up and up and up, right? The showrunner is Francesca Gardner. So for those who don't know Francesca, she's been the head creators of the shows like Succession, His Dark Materials, and these shows are some really, really good shows. They're high quality shows, and she's going to be the showrunner. And what's even more interesting to know is that Mark Mylod, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, is going to be the director and executive producer. And once again, he's been the director of shows like Succession and Game of Thrones, The Last of Us.
Yeah, all phenomenal shows.
These are A+ shows.
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. Succession to me is one of my favorite shows. I think it's probably, I've watched a lot. So to me, it's probably top 20.
Yeah.
But to some, it's like considered a top 10 show of all time.
Oh yeah.
This is in part due to the great acting, we've seen in the film, in the TV series, as well as, Francesca Gardner's and Mark Mylod's, Mylod, right?
Yep.
Their involvement with this. So
Yep.
I'm excited. Like, you're right. These type of information, when I was getting it, it slowly made me like realize, okay, this series, it won't replace that magic. We know that. But if they can recreate it in a different way and in their own way, they have a lot of good names tagged to it for now.
Yeah, and apparently the showrunner, she's also a writer as well.
Okay.
And she's attached to it. Laura Neal, the writer behind Killing Eve.
Yep.
She's behind it as well. So just looking at the creative team right now, the people behind the camera, I'm on board.
Yeah, their resume is great, phenomenal.
Yeah,
your resume needs to be phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
if you're tagged to recreating the Harry Potter.
And J.K. Rowling is also heavily involved as well,
which is good. Yeah, so she's gonna have her insights. Yeah, one quote I saw was that they really do want this show to be a faithful adaptation of her books.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, the movies are great,
Mhm.
but again, they missed the mark on some of those adaptation, right? Some of these age characters,
Yeah.
ages of them, some of the way they look, it wasn't exactly on par with the book. So, but that's understandable.
And it's also nice to see when the writer, right, of these books is also creatively involved so heavily.
The reason why Game of Thrones is so great because of George R. Martin's involvement with the TV show. Right. Like,
and J.K. Rowling is the executive producer who's going to be giving a lot of creative input on this. So I'm very excited about that. And also, what I'm liking about this is that HBO is taking their time. I mean, they announced this show, like a year or 2 years?
2 years ago almost, I think.
And they still haven't started production because they're trying to make sure they've got all the pieces of the puzzle right. And so far, it's been great. I mean, the people behind the camera are great. Now, Adil, do you want to start talking about the people that are rumored to be in front of the camera?
Yes, of course. This is where I want to talk about all these characters.
Yeah.
These are all still rumors in the media world and TV world, but you can't keep a secret. Even though they're very hush about this right now. Currently, John Lithgow is rumored to be Dumbledore. If you're not familiar with John Lithgow, he's been in amazing works such as The Crown, where he played Winston Churchill. I think he win an Emmy for that.
He did win.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, for his portrayal of Winston Churchill. So like,
and he's a 6-time Emmy winning actor in general.
Yeah. So he knows how to act.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because when we were first listening to talks about this series, he's American. And this show is obviously, British.
Right.
So most of the actors and actresses that the showrunners were focusing on were of that origin from, either they're British or Irish.
Right.
So the fact that he's in the final talks right now and he's American means that he probably knocked their socks off.
I mean, his resume is fantastic. So like you said, he played Winston Churchill in The Crown, but he
also so many other things, right?
Yeah. Like Dexter.
Yeah. I haven't seen the season where he is. I'm still watching Dexter, but apparently he was like a serial killer there. And wow. Okay, I think also won an award for that.
Emmy for an outstanding guest actor.
Yeah. Which is, do you know how awesome you have to be to even win that award?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be a phenomenal actor and knock it, like, home run performance to get that award.
And he was also apparently, he played Will Ferrell's dad in Daddy's Home 2.
Oh, yeah. He also played Barney Stinson's dad in
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, he's been in a lot of, like, that shows he has range, right?
Yeah.
Comedy to The Crown, this. And I think that kind of actor would do well in the portrayal of Dumbledore.
More than Dumbledore, I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Another big guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is it? Hagrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, who's rumored to be Hagrid?
So Brett Goldstein is rumored to be playing Hagrid. For those of you who don't know Brett Goldstein, well, shame on you, because that means I haven't seen Ted Lasso,
The greatest Apple TV show ever, and currently one of the best ones on too, which
Yeah.
is being
And why I'm really excited about, well, when I first heard about Brett Goldstein playing Hagrid, I was kind of like, what? Like, wait, what?
yeah, no, I did it.
It was like a double take, because I was like, okay, great actor. I love him. Like, I want to see him in everything. Yeah, phenomenal actor.
But Hagrid is iconic, right?
But Hagrid is iconic, but he's also bigger,
Yep.
older, has a big beard. At first, I couldn't imagine Brett Goldstein
Mhm.
as Hagrid. I just couldn't. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait, nowadays with, CGI and VFX and makeup,
and prosthetic.
anybody can play that role.
Yeah, like the Penguin we saw, right? If HBO is involved with it, they
Oh.
can transform a character. Colin Farrell,
Who
Like-
could have thought?
I still to this day did not know it was him if you wouldn't tell me. Like I was like, there's some other random dude I've never seen. But the makeup prosthetics they did with it, like
Perfect.
completely transformed
Yeah.
it.
And it wasn't like cheesy either.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, that's prosthetics, right? I know people who were watching The Penguin, and they were just watching, and they're not like major fans of the actors or even the movie, The Batman. They just saw it because they heard good things about it, and they didn't even know Colin Farrell was the Penguin.
Dude, same. You can tell they've done it so well. So like, I know, like I understand, like Brett Goldstein
Mhm.
does not look like Hagrid, but you put that beard on him, you put that fat suit on him, which he has. Hagrid is not just a big guy; he's literally half giant.
Oh,
right, like
yeah.
So you need to like make him half giant.
Yeah.
Then you just put all that around. Brett Goldstein, I think, would be a phenomenal
And-
picking. But like these are again only rumors. Nothing is confirmed yet. Like they're so hush hush about this.
And also, once again, they're finding very creative individuals here, right? Because just like with John
Lithgow.
Lithgow,
Yeah.
even with obviously he has a great resume, but so does he, because with Brett Goldstein, it's not just about him being an actor.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, right? But he's also a great creative individual. He also was the one behind Shrinking, the show on Apple.
Oh, his writing,
He created the show, and he was a writer.
Oh, dang. Okay, nice. So he can act and create.
Yeah.
So okay.
So he has that creative mind, clearly, not just from an actor perspective, but just as a creator in general. But even for Ted Lasso, he was a writer and an executive producer for that.
Really? Yeah. Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
So this man is like
Great.
very talented. Very talented.
And he's charismatic. He's also very lovable. Even the role that he played in Shrinking and Ted Lasso, you can very easily empathize for sure, or sympathize with it. Yeah. Right. And Hagrid is that character. If you think that, a lovable character.
Yep.
And he's kind of on his own, what kind of how he is as Roy Kent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like with the right prosthetics and makeup, I can totally buy him as Hagrid.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think he'll be great.
Yeah.
Also, since we're talking about all these great actors,
Mhm.
there's one name, I think the biggest name tagged to this movie right now. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
But he's rumored to be, Voldemort or Professor Quirrell.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yep. You're
Yeah.
talking about Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy. Man, Cillian Murphy being even involved with this would
He's a straight up A-list.
A-list. Yeah, we've seen him in great shows like Oppenheimer from starting his early career when we saw him in Batman Begins, right?
Yeah.
When he was like on the new stage of acting.
Yeah.
And what he can do as his range.
Yeah.
Oscar winning type dude.
Oh yeah. Literally. Yeah.
Peaky Blinders, one of the greatest series. To me personally, I
Yeah.
love it. And without him, Peaky Blinders is like
It's not the same. It's not the same. Their show.
yeah.
And I think he's become a household name now, especially with Oppenheimer and the buzz and the awards and everything that he received from that. He's an A-list for sure. Yep. And I think for someone to play Voldemort, you've got to be right up there.
Yeah, for sure.
I initially had concerns when I heard about him playing Voldemort, because my initial
Because he's huge, man. Like A-list actor. Voldemort has like
barely
screen
it's all
time.
like, do they really want someone who's an A-list actor like that, will they really dedicate a decade to a certain role? Because even with Marvel movies, a lot of actors, deny such great characters because they don't want to do this for such a long period of time.
Yep.
They want, because they're so creative and they have a great filmography, they want to grow that, right? So at first I was like, will Cillian Murphy really sign on to it? But then I thought about it and I was like, no, if anything, this makes the perfect sense. Do you know where I'm going with this?
No, please, yeah.
With a character like Voldemort, if you really think about it, Voldemort doesn't even show up like properly till the 4th book.
Yeah, and that's only for like that last scene of it.
Yeah, like the last half, or not even the last half.
The last few chapters where he publicly makes an appearance, like
exactly
Lord Voldemort.
And then he makes small snippets of cameos in Order of Phoenix. I don't even know about Half-Blood Prince, but
I think similar, like maybe like he has a couple chapters or like someone's talking about it.
Yeah.
But he really doesn't get screen time till the 7th.
Yeah. That's where he's a big, and even in that, if you think about it, it's not till like the last half of the Deathly Hallows where it's a lot about him, right? So I thought about it, I was like, wait, Cillian Murphy can still be doing his great movies and stuff, right? Yet he can make those small cameos.
Sure, a lot of times, because it's not too much screen time. Like he has those big fight sequences that he has with Dumbledore and Harry, but like Cillian Murphy can make time for that, right? Like that's what he was there for.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest here. This is one of the biggest franchises of all time. Every actor wants to be involved in this. They're all hitting up their agents and they're like, "Hey, how can we be involved in the Harry Potter?" Right? This is a legacy in a way, right? So I can totally see him, and plus, I think he's got that. I can see him as Voldemort.
Yeah, I mean, like he's also tied to Professor Quirrell. So
that's where I was a little confused.
Like I don't know which one he's gonna be because the first film, Professor Quirrell and Voldemort were kind of one, right? When he had the turban around him, we couldn't tell, but like he was technically there.
Which is funny because I can also see him as...
I know, yeah. He was quirky and like I can kind of see Cillian Murphy being that role. So like, I'm not sure if they're gonna like use him for both of those roles or just for one of them. But regardless, like he'll be Professor Quirrell for a season, or he's gonna make these he's gonna comic creative Voldemort, Lord of Voldemort.
I don't think it's just gonna be, because there are rumors. Some rumors are saying that he's straight up Voldemort. Some rumors, and I think over the past couple of weeks, there's been conflicting reports of him playing Professor Quirrell.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be... He's such a big actor. He's not going to come on a show just for the...
But maybe that's what we're thinking, because what position in Hogwarts has these random wizards that keeps taking it? Defense against the Dark Arts, right? Maybe they have a big A-lister every time and that this happens, right? Because this is the first season. Like we don't know, like Morgan Fox could like come in, like Morgan Freeman and as a role or something like that.
That would be hilarious.
Like someone, because maybe that's like what they're doing, and like that could like each season, right? Like we already know every film will have a new Defense Against the Dark Arts feature. So like this could be a way.
Funny. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, just pick an A-list for every time that character, or every time there's a new professor for that. Yeah, but I still feel like he's in it for the long run.
He would be, I think, a phenomenal choice for Lord Voldemort. I know the previous actor that took his role praised. He was like, again, these are all just rumors, right? We don't know, nothing set in stone. Yeah, but when the previous actor who played Lord Voldemort, he stated that Cillian would be a phenomenal choice.
Yeah, he did say that.
He was like, that like if you're picking the best of the best, Cillian Murphy's amongst that, right?
And also they're gonna do this show differently from the movie, right? Because the actor who played Quirrell, right, he never really popped up again because he technically dies. Right. And it's the other head of Voldemort that takes over. At that, I think when they were doing that first movie, right, I don't think Ralph Fiennes was even signed on to play Voldemort.
Yeah, it makes sense. He doesn't really make an appearance. So
they don't really need to play Voldemort.
Like 5 years into like the franchise, I would say. Right?
So we're four. I think the fourth movie.
Okay, fourth movie.
But having said that, though, in this one, maybe they want to have their Voldemort signed on from day one.
Yeah,
they know where they're gonna take, which direction it's gonna go, right? So maybe he plays Quirrell, and that's him in his human form. Because the thing about Voldemort is that he's not fully human. He's like half snake, half man, right?
Yep.
So in his human form, he's Quirrell, right? The professor. And we get to see an A-list actor, as Quirrell, right?
Yep.
And then the back of the head is like the snake version.
That's why like you gotta admire HBO, right? They're
Yeah.
taking their time. They're gonna select the right people for the right roles.
Yeah.
We've seen them do it for countless series they've created. So it just makes sense of taking time for Harry Potter.
Definitely.
So other than like, we talked about those three guys also.
Yeah.
Professor McGonagall, there's also been talks about how Sharon Horgan, who was
Bad Sisters.
yeah, from Bad Sisters, yeah.
Yeah.
She's in talks or in rumors, to be Professor McGonagall.
Okay.
She's interesting because,
Yeah.
she's younger.
She's younger. Yeah.
And like, I feel like part of the charm for Professor McGonagall in the movies was like, she was close to Dumbledore's age. I know she was younger than him in the books significantly, but like, she's like a wise old character.
Yeah. True.
Like, not like young,
Yeah.
but like she's older than Sirius Black
Yeah.
and Lupin and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they're gonna, take this role.
But then I also wonder, with the costumes and the makeup, like I'm sure they're gonna put glasses on her. They do.
Okay, yeah.
Where we might see her a certain way based on the character she's played or her, her public appearances, right? But I feel like based on what she might wear and the way she might carry herself,
Yeah. I mean, she's beautiful. Like I remember, I think really, I haven't seen Bad Sisters, but the first thing I saw her in was Game Night when she was dumb dude's older, wiser girlfriend, pretty much, and she did really well in that role. So like I know she has the acting ability. So let's see.
Now, before we talk about that next person, Snape, right? I wanted to just ask, because this actually leads into Snape as well. How are these characters described in the books? Because we keep thinking of, like, for example, in the movies, we have a certain idea, right?
Yeah.
Because we've been watching them for so long, we almost expect McGonagall to be the way she is in the movies.
Yeah.
Or Snape is the way we see in the movies, right?
Yeah.
But McGonagall, Snape, how are they described in the books? Because, for example, Paapa Essiedu, right, is playing Snape, and Paapa Essiedu is he's black,
Yeah.
right, and and I think it'll be interesting to see someone of a different race play such an iconic character. But in the books, was race, age, were those factors kind of brought up with like McGonagall?
I mean, a little bit. I don't know about McGonagall specifically, but like Snape, like even though Alan Rickman did a great job as portraying, he was some say on the older side because Snape is supposed to be around Harry Potter's parents' age, and
That makes sense.
like late 30s type, and Alan Rickman is like 20 years older than that when Trey was, but he did it such a great job because like when you think of Snape, you think of like that the cold demeanor, the coldness of him, the his nose, his the way he speaks and stuff, and Alan Rickman hit that perfectly.
Oh yeah.
So I think like casting wise, those little things like age, there's always gonna be people that have stuff to talk about, race, age, or whatnot. But like at the end of the day, it's about who and you act this character. Can you do it well?
Yeah.
And if they selected, whoever they select for all these roles, that's what I'm expecting, especially from HBO.
I mean, even Paapa Essiedu, right? Like he's a great actor. He's from I May Destroy You, right?
Yeah.
And he's also been in like an episode of Black.
Yeah, Black Mirror. Yeah, I remember he played like a demon or something. Yeah, he did so it's so weird to see because he was like in a serious but comedic role in that. But like you saw his range in that, and like he's known for his theater and like experience, and I think he'll be a phenomenal actor in this. HBO doesn't miss.
And you know what, you just brought up a great point about Alan Rickman, right? He kind of made it his own, right? Like so even if the characters, even if J.K. Rowling didn't imagine Alan Rickman, all right, playing the character, every actor kind of brings in their own unique factor, right? And that's why you want to be very picky with which actor you choose, right? Like that's why I'm so excited about like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
Because they have that it factor.
Yeah.
They're going to bring something new, something of their own. They're going to bring up a personality or a trait, which I hope they do. Yeah. Because it makes it their own. So whoever is the next Dumbledore, Snape, Hagrid, make it your own. I kind of don't want them to just when you're doing a reboot, right? Yeah. A lot of people say, "Oh, I hate reboots. I hate remakes." Right? I say there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you do something different.
Yeah.
If you're just gonna
Don't
do,
like repeat, try to copy. Try to copy. I think that's when it fails.
Yeah.
Because you can't recreate it.
Yeah.
Right. You can't copy it fully.
and the fact that they're going for a different, race for Snape, I kind of like that, because they're not putting themselves in this sandbox. Oh, that's not how they did it in the movies. No, you have to do it differently from the movies, right? So I think they're going in a much more of a creative direction than ever before with this, and I'm all on.
They're choosing talented people, and all these people, again, nothing's confirmed.
Yeah.
All these are still like rumors. But I'm excited. This show, like Harry Potter, has been part of our childhood, so I'm really excited to see what HBO and Warner Brothers does. And we talked about all these characters. What about the trio, man?
And that's one thing there's no buzz about. And I think it also has to do with the fact that they're still looking, right? I think you brought up a number.
So 32,000 people that they have auditioned for Ron, Hermione, and Harry.
That's a lot of kids.
Yes, they said that Francesca and I think Mark were going through thousands of videos, like weekly, daily, reviewing them, because
Wow.
like you said, who wouldn't want to be part of this universe? And if we have this much of a connection as Americans and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure children around Great Britain and the UK, they relate to these characters at a deeper level than us, just because it's part of their culture and stuff, and like they love it, and they're excited about it. So they're gonna get a lot of numbers in.
Definitely.
We have no buzz about it.
And I also think it's because they're trying to cast someone who's from age 9 to 11, right? Yeah. So it might be someone that isn't experienced in Hollywood.
Yeah, which is great, which is what I want. The unknowns. That's how they become knowns, right? Eventually, right? All these,
as long as we can connect. And
I'm glad, like, they're sure. So that's the direction, which is good, because if they're going for 10 years, right? Potentially, you need someone who's in that age range. And I think they did pretty well with the movies. Iconic, of course. But what do you think about? Have you heard anything about involvement from the original trio, if they're gonna be part of the series or not, or any other returning characters?
So right now, I think Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, they've been asked. Okay. Not specifically about the reboot, but in general, like if there was ever remakes of the movies, right, or this show, would you ever consider coming back? And I think all three of them, they didn't flat out say no, but they didn't say yes either. But they also didn't sound optimistic.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, because it was like, you don't want to, we've seen Daniel Radcliffe, right? And I feel like previously I saw it somewhere. He was like, he's a phenomenal actor.
Oh yeah.
But he's the boy who's lived, the chosen one or whatever. That's what we've always known him as. And I think as an actor, as a human being, he wants to kind of get detached from that. He doesn't want to just be known as Harry Potter, even though he was phenomenal in it. I think he can show that he has acting abilities, and I think
he doesn't want to be typecast. Yeah. And I get that, and that's another reason why I don't want them showing up either, because there's two things, right? One, like you just said, they've done a lot of it. Yeah. They're probably hey, we want to detach from it. We don't want to go back to it. Yeah. Right? Because when we go back to it, then people will start seeing us again of this Harry Potter world, right? So that's the first reason. The second reason is, I think, from an audience's perspective, I want this new thing to be its own, this reboot to be its own thing. The moment Daniel Radcliffe or Rupert Grint or Emma Watson pop up, I think we're immediately gonna...
Yeah, and it'll be, I think, unfair to the current people in the cast, right? And it's just gonna bring back expectations from the movie, and I think it'll be unfair to everyone involved.
It would be fan service. I don't want that either, because you kind of remove, by doing that, you remove the magic that was already done. Like the Harry Potter movies that we grew up with, they're done.
Yep.
As much as we would love for there to be an 8th movie, 9th movie, 10th movie, they're done, right? I think it was a great beginning, middle, and end. They did a fantastic job. But now let's have a new set of characters of a new generation take over, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So even though, And I think maybe that's the reason why they're not so optimistic about coming back, because they're like, okay, if we come back, we're almost kind of like gonna take the limelight away from the main characters, right? So I think maybe it's for the best that at least the trio. Yeah, I could see. Imagine if like Gary Oldman came back as like Dumbledore or something like that. But even then, I want to see that.
It's like, yeah, I feel like if they're asked, I don't think they'll be asked, first of all.
Yeah.
I think HBO is great at casting. They've done their job. They're really good at finding those unknown talents for these type of roles. And they're already asking a lot of these A-list actors for the different supporting roles. So I think personally too, like, I wouldn't love to seeing the trio involved at all. I think it would take away from the magic of the new series for sure.
One thing that I'm very happy about is knowing the fact that HBO is taking their time with this. They're not just, it's not like they got a green signal to go and film and they just started. Yeah. Like, because this was announced a couple years back, and apparently rumors are suggesting that they still won't start production on this till summer of this year.
Yeah, so it's time. Yeah, so it makes you thinking maybe they already have all these names, but they're so good at keeping it a secret, we won't know. But that means the announcement will be coming soon, right? Or if they're filming it this summer, we should expect the announcement of these prominent characters in the next 2-3 months.
And apparently they're going to be filming it on the same sets as or the same studio as the movie. The Leavesden Studios.
Yeah, so that'll be nice to see it there. I think it's in the same city that they filmed in the previous 8 films where they were filmed. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
But, at the end of the day, we are interested to know your thoughts. Are you excited about the new Harry Potter reboot? And are you happy with what you're hearing about the rumored casts? Whatever your thoughts are, whatever your questions are, leave them down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Faze and Adil Show. We'll have a lot more news, not just about the latest Harry Potter developments, but just of movies and TV shows and just cinema overall. Till then, see you next time.